ridiculous. It's a win-or-lose situation. And that's what is wrong with this mayor. Indeed, the city's budget fight has revealed a chasm in interpreting the $83 million budget that the city council has passed. Most councilors say it would not require layoffs of firefighters or rank-and-file police. It was in the budget. It was already in the budget. It's ridiculous. Okay? They cite the mayor's own testimony before the budget was first approved. They noted he said he could live with the amount of money allocated, and he never mentioned a need to sever public safety layoffs. Never. Then, after the council first approved the budget, with the mayor's apparent blessing, he drew his big layoff axe, proposing a scorched earth decimation of public safety services in the city. If he didn't know when the budget first passed that it would require such extensive layoffs, he certainly should have, because that's his job. That's his job. He should have known beforehand. But we know the guy can't do his job. You know, he talks a good talk. He's a student. he never really worked in the real world. All his stuff is bull. It's all baloney. He worked with other people. He's never led. I don't have a good head for numbers. That's Dave Collins is saying. And I'm not sure I could determine whether the mayor or the council are correct about the need for layoffs with the current budget, no matter how much time I spent with the budget documents. Honest man. But I would interpret the startling text sent by the police chief Tuesday night in the midst of the council's budget deliberation. Okay. Collins is like me, right? Same thing. As a smoking gun when it comes to deciding who is right about the layoffs. Chief Margaret Alkley, this one I couldn't believe, wrote in her text that she could, after all, find enough money in the proposed police budget to avoid the 10 line officers layoff. As Councilor Maynard might say, surprise, surprise. And yet the next day, at one of those press conferences in which the mayor continued to display the city's dysfunctional policy in front of invited television cameras, Finizio pressed on and said he will continue with police layoffs, as if his own police chief had not just said they weren't necessary. The mayor's plan to seek union concessions under the threat of layoffs is classic budget politics. However, and this is true, that's classic, you're threatening. You're supposed to make those threats before a budget is approved. Beforehand. Especially when it's a budget that most agree won't require layoffs. His other big mistake was not building some political consensus before bluffing. At least a few winks and nudges to others of his own party would have helped. Well, clearly he's got two clowns that seem to be supporting him. I don't understand. They must be Republicans because and they're clearly anti-union and anti-labor people. Their vote is showing us that. Okay, they shouldn't even be allowed in a Democratic committee meeting for crime. I mean, like the Democratic town committee with votes like that. And and that leads to a big mistake number 3. He's given 2 mistakes. He should have backed down and beat a safe retreat while that was still easy, instead of doubling down and soldiering on alone with the layoffs. But the new mayor has proved time and time again he can't admit when he is wrong. Dave, Mr. Dave Collins, you got that right. This guy is not going to ever admit he's wrong. He's taking punches. He thinks he's in the ring. The next standoff with the council may be over the issue of whether the council has the authority to cut the mayor's staff by cutting funding for their positions. And however the fight might be between the mayor and the councilors end up, voters will likely petition the budget to referendum. I certainly know they will. I know groups that are getting ready to do that. I wonder how much credibility the mayor will have with voters then, given that some elected members of his own party apparently no longer trust him. And this is the opinion of Mr. Dave Collins. Great article, Mr. Collins. I thought it was a wonderful argument. I thought you had him right there. You had all facts. For a person who's an opinion writer, you had facts, and that was and that was really good for me. I mean, that's I like to see facts. I have my opinion too, but I usually try to explain to people the difference. And I hope you listeners here, especially New London voters and people who have people in New London, you understand that this guy is devastating the city. He is putting us in a tremendous risk situation with the firemen and the police. This city, he's done it from the get-go. But now that was I read your May 31st. Then I read your Dave's Collins, which was June 1st. And that June 3rd, I couldn't believe this. Okay? I get to the paper in the morning early. I mean, we're talking like 5 o'clock in the morning. And what do I see? Finizio has got an editorial. And here it is. This I got, right? I mean, this is great. Finizio, okay? An equitable, responsible budget. This is written by Darryl Finizio. The New London Fire Department is a great department, and I do not want to see even one member lose his job. Oh my God, this guy's outrageous. However, he jumps right in. However, every single department in city government is facing layoffs, and administrative positions have been eliminated as well. More than 60 teachers, this is what he did, have received layoff notices. Every layoff is a tragedy for every worker's family. Like he cares about your family. This guy doesn't care about anybody. Nobody. He'll cut you up and down. Okay? What a joke. The administration announced public safety layoffs before the council's final budget vote so that funding could be restored by tax revenue if the council so desired. The council acted in a different way, in a dangerous other way. In other words, this guy is holding everyone in this city hostage to do it my way. Give me the 20% or I'm gonna jam you folks up. This guy is, to me, he's criminal. To me, and most of you know my background, which, okay? To me, this is a gang leader talking to other gang leaders. Okay? To me, this is a man who would never last in the prison because there's no place to hide, no place to run. To jam people up like he is doing is inhumane. There is no humanity in him. Actually, Mr. Passero is right. He's a nice guy. Michael Passero is not one to threaten or anything else. He's a negotiator. He's a negotiator. It's my problem with Michael. He's a nice guy. You can't be a nice guy working with a guy like Finizio. You got to be a guy like me. This guy needs to be knocked out. There's no There's no compromise. You know, dancing around the ring with him. He does rope a dope, stab you in the back. You gotta knock him out and keep him down. It's the only way. This guy is bad news and was bad news for New London. But anyways, I gotta read his stuff. The council eliminated funding for the development director, who has already assisted in bringing hundreds of thousands of dollars in grant funding to the city. Absolute lie and outrageous statement. That, okay, he is at the work done on that grant funding had nothing to do with the new developer and the director who was let go. They eliminated funding for an assistant clerk that the city law director has confirmed they cannot legally do. Well, who said you could legally hire them? The council eliminated a risk manager who saved the city hundreds of thousands of dollars in reduced liability cost. The only one who's put this real city in a liability predicament is this guy that's writing this. The list goes on and on of essential positions in city government cut to transfer funds to public safety, mostly the fire department. Well, that's the biggest department you got, and actually they're both equal, police and fire, in priorities, I think. Okay, but we're in a funny city, but that's I'll get to. Most concern is that the council also overestimated city revenues by more than $250,000, according to the city finance director. Revenue overestimations are what caused our budget deficit in the first place, and with no city reserve to back us up, such a repeat performance could push New London into bankruptcy. I happen to think that's a good thing. All this was done after both the fire union and the administration agreed publicly that our positions are not far apart and that we both have zero layoffs as our goal. That's what you had, and you lied. Okay? The council's actions were not taken to just avoid layoffs. They were taken to fully honor one department's contract by sacrificing all others. Now, this is the political dance, the Washington two-steps, okay, that Darrell has inherited and made the New London four-step. Okay, he's now going to blame, he's going to blame his own party. He's going to blame Michael Passero for his irresponsibility. That's what he's going to do. In New London, a very small geographic area city, our fire contract mandates that 18 members be on a shift 24 hours a day. Compare this to other surroundings. You can't do it. You can't compare New London to other towns. And the reason for the 18 level shift is in 93 or 94, 95, okay, we had a major fire situation, and the fire department was understaffed, and due to it being understaffed, somebody died. A firefighter died. Nobody's telling you that crap. We lost a firefighter. I believe it was 94, 95. Nobody's saying that. I mean, it's like we've had police officers shot here back, not, you know, 20 years ago may be a lot of time to some people, but when you get my age, 20 years is like, see you later, a blink of an eye. Okay? He ain't talking about the history here. And we're ground zero. We are ground zero. Some clown in the paper doesn't know what that means. Okay? We are right in the center of where certain things can happen, and we're in trouble if we don't have a sophisticated, comprehensive fire department and police department. That's no bull. That's no bull. That's not Father's imagination. That's not Father. That's not Father the criminal talking. That's Father the justice consultant, master's degree in justice. My own research knows about these. That's Father who worked many years in the police department of Peoria talking, not the ex-criminal from years ago. I'm telling you, I'm telling every citizen, we need the best fire department we can have and the best police department. We haven't got them yet, and they cost money, but we don't need to be cutting them, not now. Volunteer service, somebody said something about volunteer service. Got to be out of your mind. What it takes to train a fireman in this situation and the kind of people that we need to do the things that have to be done here and the crisis situation that could happen here, a volunteer department, so whoever is talking about those things doesn't have a clue to what they're talking about. Not a clue. Not a clue. You need to go home. Who is going? You got to be kidding. Volunteer? A nuclear sub-base right here? A nuclear power plant right here? A train that goes through the middle of our city, sometimes carrying hazardous waste? One incident, and forget about it, New London will be a ghost town. Do you know how many tragedies can happen? And this clown of a mayor that we put in hasn't got a clue. He's in New York or something. I don't know what he was doing in New York with Giuliani, because he wasn't protecting the city. That's for sure. Okay, I got to calm down here because you people don't want to hear me yelling. A reduction of from 18 to 14 would save millions of dollars, allowing the city to give firefighters the pension plan they have sought for years. This would allow members to retire, reduce risk, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he's talking about, and then he compares us to Waterford, Montreal, Ledyard, and Groton. It is erroneous. I'm not even going to get into that. You can't do it. You can't compare. You're totally talking apples and oranges. You're not even in the apple. You're talking grapes compared to New London. As teachers and layers were announced, administrative positions cut, layoffs announced for public workers, Councilor President Michael Pissarro responded in this paper. Finizio wants to say something to Michael. I am encouraged by the positive attitude and constructive solutions that the administration had generated as they make the necessary adjustments for significant loss of revenue facing the city. And that was right. Michael congratulated people who were working. There was honesty going on. When the cuts finally reached the department in which he serves as an employee and for being, whose union, he has served as an attorney, all of a sudden he accused me personally of being cruel, of lacking humanity, and lying. The sudden change in tone has obvious source, and it's not administrative policy, it's a glaring conflict of interest. Mr. Finizio, you are a habitual liar. To attack Michael Pissarro for just stating fact is outrageous. He's had no conflict of interest. Everyone in the city knew and voted for him as a fireman. We are all aware. There isn't anybody who doesn't know. And if you didn't know he was an attorney and a negotiator, then you didn't do your homework. I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing I didn't know, haven't known. My people know. Michael is an honorable man, and he went into those negotiations believing everything was all right. And you stabbed him in the back, and the other guys. You're the one who did it. You're trying to blame them. I don't want to see anyone lose their job, you got. I don't want anyone to lose their business or home due to tax hike. Pain will be borne by all with this budget, but it must be borne fairly. Department, employees, business, taxpayers must contribute. And every politician must be prepared to compromise. If the current budget, this is what it is, if the current budget is not adjusted to account